Today, I wanted to make a video on why I believe currently is the best moment to get into Honkai Star Rail. Now, I'm sure some people are aware, I made a video, or two videos actually, saying that this game has a bad case of power creep, and that it does, right? In most gacha games where the power creep will simply be a 20 to 30% boost, in this game, we went from Imbibitor Lune and Jingliu straight to Acheron, who was like twice, if not thrice, as strong as both Imbibitor Lune and Jingliu. However, we're now getting to a point in the game where there's a lot more DPSs that, even if they're not on the same level, they can still keep up better than Lune and Jingliu did, making the power creep less of an issue. Now, we have Acheron, we have Firefly, we have Yunli. Now don't get me wrong, Yunli isn't as strong as those two, however she is still a very good damage unit. I've seen many people making videos, I've seen many tests of her in MOC, where each time she does her counterattack, she does 2 to 300,000, and she does it very often. I mean it, she does it quite often, right? So she's not a bad pull at all. However, I didn't only want to go over the DPSs, but also I wanted to go over the fact that if you were to get into this game right now, you could go for any team comp you want. Like, I'm not even kidding. This is the best time to get into the game because Acheron is due for her rerun soon, and Xiaoqiu is in the next banner. Kafka is also due for a rerun soon, so you can get an Acheron team just like that if you get into the game as a new player. But then you could also get Fei Xiao. Oh, so Fei Xiao is coming out. She's a follow-up attacker, and some of her best supports are free. And E6 Moze and March go really good with Fei Xiao. And guess what? Robin, the best follow-up support, is due for her rerun soon. So you can also make a follow-up team. But wait, you can also make a dot team. Now Xiaoqiu, although not the best, you could get Xiaoqiu, then you could wait for either Kafka or Black Swan's rerun, and then get Black Swan and Kafka, or right now, the best sustain for dot is Huohuo. So you could go for Huohuo, maybe you skip Xiaoqiu, but I wouldn't really recommend it since it might take a bit. Unless you end up getting an E6 Guinaifen. E6 Guinaifen, you know, she can replace him in dot teams, right? The damage difference isn't that large. So, you can get an optimal dot team within a couple of patches. So, you kind of see where I'm getting here, right? There are so many strong team comps that you could make just getting straight into the game, which is very nice. You have the option of an Acheron team, a dot team, a follow-up team, and I think Firefly won't get her rerun for a little bit, you know, so maybe not Super Break teams. However, Super Break doesn't only apply to Firefly. So long as you have Harmony Trailblazer, you can even use Himiko. Yeah, that's right. If you lose your 50-50 to Himiko or something, Himiko is really good in Super Break teams. So you have so many options for teams in this game right now that I'd say this is the best time to get into the game. All these strongest DPSs, all these strongest supports for these team archetypes are all coming out soon and rerunning. And it's kind of nice, right? Like, it wasn't that crazy in Pentagony, because in Pentagony we got what, Black Swan, so she did help the dot team. But back then it was like, since it was the first year of the game being out, we didn't have all that many characters that we could like fully be confident on would change the game for an archetype or a team archetype. But now that we're aware of all these characters, like we've all had them run on a banner before, we all know what characters we want in order to create the team archetype that we want. And we can be a lot more carefree when it comes to choosing the characters that we want or like, right? Because look at me, for example. I had so many options. I'm not even a new player. I'm skipping 2.4 right now because I simply don't have interest in Yunli or Huohuo, and I'm not interested in Zhaoq and whoever is rerunning with him, right? But when I've made a couple of videos now talking about a poll crisis I'm having, where basically I'm skipping 2.4 and I'll have around 200 polls by the end of 2.5, and I don't know what team archetype to go for because there's so many options, right? Like, I could go for a Dot team, wait for the Kafka and Black Swan rerun. I could go for an Acheron team, wait for the Acheron rerunning at Zhaoq. I could go for a follow-up team. I could get Fei Xiao and Robin on a rerun. So, it's so good. Like, this is good, right? Don't get me wrong. This is very good because all these teams are viable. All these teams, when at their peak performance, are pretty relative to each other, if I'm being honest. And I really love that, right? Like, the 3 strongest teams in the game, once 2.5 hits, are going to be Super Break, number 1, Acheron, number 2, and Fei Xiao, number 3. But they're all in the same tier because they all do top tier damage that almost no one else is touching, right? But keep in mind, the Dot team is also pretty versatile. They work in literally like everything. Every mode can use Dot, which is why it's so broken. Even though I will admit, getting a Dot team is more costly since for the most part, you want strictly limiteds on your team in order to perform at peak performance. But that's, you know, you could say the same for everyone, right? Acheron team, peak performance. You probably want Zhaoq, Aventurine, and Silverwolf. And for fire, actually no, Super Break teams are the only exception to this because Harmony Trailblazer is free and E6 Gallagher is like a god tier sustain for Super Break teams. But I'm telling you right now, if you've been thinking about getting into Honkai Star Rail but you've been scared, maybe you're afraid of the power creep videos like my own that I made that you've seen, this is the best time in my opinion. Sorry, I'm a bit sick. This is the best time in my opinion to get in the game. Now, warning to all new players. This game, if you've played Genshin or if you've played Wuthering Waves, this game has a significantly worse gear system, okay? I'm just gonna say it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This game, in order to get, in this game it's called Relics right here. In order to get these, it is very hard, okay? What you're looking at right now is 6,000 Trailblaze powers worth of farming. That's a lot, okay? That's like more than half a month of Trailblaze power. Now, for many new players, you won't understand this, but just know this break effect right here, these count for the rolls. Now, these 4 rolls should have been on break effect because Super Break teams want break effect, right? The only reason I'm using this is because it all went into attack, right? So I got 0 rolls on break effect. I got 1 roll on break effect. I got 0 break effect. I got 1 roll on break effect. I got 1 roll on break effect. And I got a few flat attack rolls, I guess, right? So that is half a month's worth of Trailblaze power / grind. And my relics or my gear in this game is mid. It's just straight up mid. It's not very good. If it weren't for this being a Super Break team, if I use this exact same amount of investment in the gear on any other team, I'd be doing shit damage numbers. I'm gonna be honest, Super Break is the only team archetype in this game where you can have mid relics or mid gear and still dish out crazy numbers and really good damage consistently, right? So do keep that in mind. If you're a new player going into this game, the gear system can be tedious and it will take you a while in order to really get those standout pieces that you want for your characters. So yeah, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.